Vladdy gets it done in the derby despite being the oldest 24-year-old in the bigs, while Ohtani gets set for free agency. But what would you pay a unicorn? We'll discuss. Noor, she'll also drop by to pitch us some Pascal Siakam trade ideas, or should the Raps just sign him? Sara Porarria is back and the soccer world is about to get rocked to its core. All that and much more. It's the Homestand Show. Buckle up. All right, and we're rolling here on the Homestand Show.
We made the second show.
We're here. It's the second show. The lights are still on, ladies and gentlemen.
We beat our own record, guys.
We did.
Noor Zainab. We did it, guys.
Nicely done.
Noor Zainab, James Sharman. We got a packed show for you guys today. Also joining us later, Sara Porarria. She's back. We're going to talk some footy. Messi in Miami. The family and Messi has arrived, correct?
Just like literally landed. I got video proof.
This is like tracking the royal family.
It is more important. I think Messi's more important than the royal family.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's a controversial take.
Reminds me of Kawhi on the highway and the chopper above too, remember?
Oh, man.
Okay,
in the soccer
maybe
world,
don't go back there.
In the soccer world, it's crazy. During transfer season, you see fans tracking flights.
Yeah.
I don't remember the Pogba thing from Turin to Manchester and where the flights were going to be. It's crazy stuff. So Messi is in Miami. We'll talk some footy. The biggest storylines this summer. I mean, you have Mbappe, who might leave PSG. It's getting a little nasty between him and
Very
PSG.
nasty, yeah.
Messi, obviously, and David De Gea leaving Manchester United, but kind of pushed out the door. Like, don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's poor old David De Gea, and I feel sorry for him to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean.
But he's played the game as well, so we'll get into that with Sarah. He's
been good. Not great, though. I think they need a better keeper. In comes, I think, Andre Onana is supposed to be coming in. From Inter Milan. Also on the show, we'll have the Zubes. He's going to stop by. We'll talk some Jays, some baseball. Vladdy winning the home run derby. We'll also talk about Shohei Ohtani and what will it take to put together a trade package to actually bring him in? What kind of blockbuster players and prospects will you need to throw in the pot to bring him in? And can the Jays actually offer up something? I know that's crazy. It's a hypothetical. I'm going to ask the Zubes. He's going to love it, probably hate it. But I'm curious.
You think there's any chance?
I mean,
that they even consider
there's
that?
always a chance, right?
But you don't make the trade without signing him.
So you got to probably send over, we'll talk about this in the Zoos, but you have to send one of Vladdy or Bichette, I'm assuming, plus prospects, and then sign him to a $600 million deal.
So A-Rod was saying, I think even last night, that the Angels should trade Ohtani and Mike Trout, and with all the currency they get from the draft and from the prospects, they can build themselves into a contender in a few years' time.
I would think so.
And if you think about it, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to happen. But anyway, the money in baseball is crazy. We were talking about the difference between money in the NHL and the NBA, and it got me thinking. I'm like, wow, Fred VanVleet makes, what, triple Connor McDavid's salary?
Yeah.
More than triple, yeah.
Right?
He's what, 12,
and then we got 40, more than triple than McDavid's salary, the best player in the NHL.
My arithmetic.
I said the highest player in the NHL makes $12 million a year, right?
Yeah.
$12 million a year. He makes $30 million. He's about to go babysit in different teams.
I've always seen these numbers, but when you think about it, you're like, damn, that's insane.
Perspective,
so 3 times, but 3 times as many people watch the NBA than watch the NHL.
This is true.
At least 3 times.
You think more people know who Freddie is than Connor McDavid?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You know why I think so? Because we don't factor in the American audience, and the American audience does not watch hockey. They watch,
North America for sure. North America for sure. Yeah. In Canada,
no, compared to basketball, what are they gonna watch more?
Basketball for sure.
That's why I'm like, they would probably know Freddie more than they would know Connor McDavid.
That's
maybe
crazy.
different in Canada,
crazy.
but over there they would know him more.
Listen, with respect to hockey, but Connor McDavid outside Canada is a nobody. Globally, for sure. I love hockey, but he is. No one. You go to Europe, no one knows who Connor McDavid is.
No. A couple of years ago, we were in Mont Tremblant, me and my buddies, and Connor McDavid was there, and nobody made a scene. Like he was just there in the club.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like if I were to go down it's not what it says about me, but if I were to go down the street and I saw someone besides, Austin Matthews or Marner, I might have to do a double take to be like, do I know them? Is that who it is? I might not even know them. Exactly. Yeah.
Do you think being a superstar hockey player in Canada is easier than being a professional superstar athlete anywhere else in the world? Because if Austin Matthews can walk down the street, I'm sure he gets approached every now and again. I'm sure he does. People do kind of know who he is in Toronto.
Right.
But not that many, I don't think. And he's not that big a character. His brand isn't really, brand Austin Matthews.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I think it's an easy place to play.
I think it's just easier overall.
Toronto?
I think Canada in general.
Right.
Toronto, I think, for hockey is probably a difficult market, but compared to other sports, it's a piece of cake.
Yeah, I would think so.
And you're making a lot of money worldwide. Wherever you go on vacation, no one's really going to know you, so you get your privacy in that area too. Yeah. I think it's a win-win situation, unless you're just playing hockey. That's the only problem.
Who's the most right now? The most well-known hockey player globally? Is it Ovechkin and Crosby?
I would say from Crosby.
Right, globally.
Yeah, but again, globally, people don't know who Crosby is.
I think it's Ovechkin.
It could be.
Well, he's Russian, right?
Just the Russian factor.
Well, I would think so, right?
Outside of North America, and obviously there's those hockey hotbeds, the Swedens of the world, which soccer is still number one by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Finland's big. But generally speaking, hockey's Canadian.
And hockey, you also got to realize, like, I feel like most people don't talk about the fact that hockey is also a privileged sport. Like, for you to be able to go to an ice, sign up for memberships, have access to hockey pucks, everything, like, all that stuff costs money. So even if you live in Canada, let's say you live somewhere there's no storm or winter or whatever, that's fine. But even if you're in Canada, you have to be of a certain level of making money where you can earn yourself or your kids to get to a spot where they can learn what hockey is, because it's not a very accessible sport. Not everyone can really just go and play it, which I think is a big reason too. If you look at sports like soccer and basketball, you just need a ball and you can play that sport anywhere. So
there was a boom here, right, with basketball after the Vince Carter thing. But not only that, for the reasons that you're making too. I mean, renting ice alone is ridiculously expensive. Plus, if you're a young kid and you're a parent paying for this young kid, every year you're buying new equipment because that kid's growing.
It's a middle-class white sport, simple as that.
It is.
I just watched the Air, the whole Michael Jordan, Nike.
What a good movie.
It was a good movie, right?
Such a good movie.
And they talk about it earlier in that movie. I forget who it was. Said, listen, basketball is the future. It is the future, and we're seeing that now. Soccer's going to always be massive globally. We understand, but within North America in particular, basketball is just surging, I think.
It's so funny too, because I saw right after the championship, there were kids on my street who used to have, hockey nets and stuff. They traded that out for basketball nets, and now everyone on my street is learning basketball. Yeah, no, they're everything, Ellie. They're everybody. They're all playing it. But now you're seeing like the tide shift a little bit more, which is exciting, because that means maybe soccer can be next at some point. Maybe not yet, but at some point.
Don't get me started in this can.
Let's get you started, man.
Soccer Nation
veteran. It's getting hot.
The weather.
We do an entire show just ranting about that. Actually,
I know.
No,
it is frustrating.
We're not a Soccer Nation.
Well, we're not. Who's asking, by the way? Who's asking?
Noor's
asking. No one does play ball hockey anymore. I live in this little suburban neighborhood in Mississauga. No kids are outside.
I see more hoops than anything else in my neighborhood.
I do too.
Sure. I don't even see kids playing soccer.
Kids don't go outside.
I grew up playing on.
They're inside watching the Homestand.
They're gaming.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are we going to corner that market? The kids who don't go outside watch the Homestand show. We got to bring them some value.
Just start talking about e-gaming and stuff.
Oh, that's true. TikTok.
Instead of Call of Duty.
The ticker. We got to get you on Ticker Talker for that.
Yeah. How's your TikTok?
Yeah. Come on.
How's your TikTok game, man?
Ticker Talker.
How's your TikTok game going?
It's not great.
It's not great.
No, I leave that up to Noor. I don't touch it.
Jeez, I think people want to hear from you. They want to see you.
My daughter likes it. They try and control that.
I have a personal account. I do have a personal account. I don't use it though. I just use it to scroll once in a while.
I get all my info, my news, all the latest trending topics from TikTok. I'm just not contributing to TikTok's algorithm in any other way.
Are you on that more than Twitter? What social platform do you use the most?
I would say for that's not true. I would say for.
Okay, Ellie, you got to stop talking to us now. You're telling us inappropriate things.
You have to have a
mic
and put a face to yourself to say that stuff over here.
No kidding.
Right? Okay. Well, I would say for me, if I were to if I'm scrolling for work, and that's for basketball, when I get my intel and for sports, easily Twitter. Twitter is like, I actually put people on Twitter. I'm like, you think Score's giving this stuff? No, you gotta get on Twitter to get the latest news breaks.
Yeah.
Exactly. But TikTok for me is more leisure, and you still find fun things on there too, where whatever you like, your timeline gets curated to that. So I still see a bunch of basketball, a bunch of sports, and it's just more curated for entertainment, not for news, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Which you gotta use it for whatever.
Everything's curated. That's how we control the people and the information flow. You look at one far right website and suddenly you're being inundated on Twitter.
Yes, it's true.
Are sharks videos 24/7?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. If it's just me, but you're having the same issue.
Same problem.
My algorithm on Instagram is nonstop shark attacks. and sharks showing up close to shore. And
Didn't you show me one though, like 2 weeks ago? Was it you?
Yeah,
or was it
unfortunately,
Ellie?
I showed you.
So that's what happened.
Yeah.
You showed me that video. Now, boom.
Yeah.
That's a horrible video.
You've been labeled as a shark
video.
attack lover.
I hate it. I don't want to see that.
With a shark attack.
I don't even like the water. I barely
We
know how
were
to swim.
watching Baywatch today, so I don't know. Maybe
We
Albert
were
did
watching
put that
Baywatch.
on.
Yeah.
Is the universe trying to tell us something?
There's
I don't
old
know.
school Baywatch too.
Are you heading somewhere with water soon?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe
Mexico.
you should watch.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
we
we go
heard
in the
you-
water if I was
Yeah, I was
talking.
gonna say we heard you had an encounter with a whale one time too. Don't make that a shark.
I did, yeah, in the Bahamas. We won't bring that up. That was
Don't
scary.
worry, there's more chance of you being shot by a drug cartel
Yeah. Well,
than
thanks.
being eaten by a shark.
That makes me feel good. I'll let my wife know that.
And
we're
your
gonna
plane going down.
We won't get eaten
And
by
well,
a shark.
Yeah,
There's a
So
pretty
many
good
other
chance
things
that
can
happening.
go wrong.
By the way,
just a shark
on
attack.
Twitter, well, I didn't realize I must have turned something off, but I was searching when Grady Dick got drafted, and what?
Why are you laughing?
I missed a letter on his first name, and
Right.
you wouldn't believe what popped up on Twitter. And I'm like, why can I see this on Twitter?
So you put Rady Dick?
No, I missed
Like
the R.
the search
I
engine,
missed the
Oh.
R.
it was
Oh.
giving you that.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just like they assumed it was something else, I
Yeah.
guess, and I was seeing a lot of
Stuff.
pictures that weren't Grady Dick. I
Right.
should put it that way.
Okay.
So I didn't realize I have to go to my preferences and change this whole thing, like so to limit the amount of X-rated things I see.
Yeah,
so
wanna
be
just-
careful out there.
Your Twitter feed sounds amazing.
No, it's not great. It's not great. Listen, I
Shark
try and get all
attacks
my
and
news there. I don't want to do
all
anything
sorts of
crazy.
things.
But I'm trying to look up. Why was I searching his name? Oh, I was trying to find. There's like a mixtape that someone put out. It was really good, but anyway, I didn't see it, and I saw some bad pictures.
Great story.
Things you can't
Would you
unremember.
Yeah.
Would you rather be called Grady Dick or have your search history on Twitter be exposed for the past
Oh.
5 years?
No, yes.
Which
Call me
one?
Grady Dick, please.
There you go.
My search history.
Without the R?
Yeah, not on purpose.
My dad's name is Dick.
Okay,
Oh.
Richard.
First name was Richard, but he goes by
Okay.
Dick.
Respect.
Oh, he does go by Dick.
Oh, nice.
I don't mind that.
I know. I actually
Are you
had
trying to get a reaction?
I gotta be respectful now. Actually,
Dick
the teacher.
Sharman.
Yeah.
I had a teacher in grade 6. His name was known by Mr. Tucock. And,
Tucock.
Oh my goodness.
and I
Wow.
was too young to know what that meant, but everyone would laugh. And later on, I was like, oh, I had a coming of age moment like 2 years
Mr.
later.
So to speak. Wow.
Tupac.
Exactly.
What was
literally.
his first name? Do you know?
No, I
Stanley?
forget.
Where was he from? Was he like? I mean, it doesn't sound a very.
He was
typically
he
Canadian
was
name.
white. He
Maybe
was
his
from Niagara. Yeah.
first name was Richard Tucock.
Richard
Dick Tucock.
Dick Tucock.
Dick-
That would be a great name, wouldn't
That'd
it?
be a fantastic name. Dick Tucock up to the plate for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay, speaking of up to the plate in baseball, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He won the home run derby. His
Derby.
dad did it, by the way, too.
He
Yeah.
did, yeah. That's right. It's the
04,
first
07?
father-son
Yeah.
to do this.
So congratulations to Vladdy. I mean, I lost. Hopefully you didn't listen to me. I lost a ton of money. I didn't have him. I had Mookie Betts with
Yeah, I
him.
know you sprinkled on Mookie.
He
didn't
looked
you?
like he'd even show up there. Pete Alonso, the favorite, bet him.
Well, Mookie said
Lost in the
before
first
the
round.
entire. He goes, "I just hope not to finish dead last." That's what he said.
Yeah.
And he finished dead last. So
He did.
attaboy,
Yeah.
Mookie.
Did you guys watch it? You watch it, Nor?
I watched a little
It was,
bit.
it was entertaining.
It was
I liked-
entertaining.
yeah.
Yeah, it's better than baseball.
Yeah.
I think I heard you guys talk about this too, because I feel like when you're a Toronto fan now, who do you get to cheer for? What do you get to cheer for? I feel like the next best thing is kind of Vladdy in
Yeah, it's
Toronto,
cool. I mean, I
right?
don't really care who wins, but yes, I think for Toronto fans, you want to see
You
him
wanna
do
see
well.
him do well,
Yeah.
exactly,
And he did.
so-
Like he looked like he wanted it too.
So do you think it's even close to the Vince moment at the? No, what that was in
no.
Toronto.
Oh
wasn't
no,
it?
no, no, no.
That wasn't in Toronto.
Was it not when he won the dunk contest?
No,
No,
that was
where
somewhere
was
else.
that? Was that
Somewhere in the
Houston?
States.
No.
No.
Oh, I
Houston
gotta
was
go.
That was
when he
transformative.
was
Okay, while
wasn't
you
it,
talk,
for
I'll
him?
Google.
It
For
was
Canadian basketball.
for
almost.
Raptors itself. Like it put us on the map, because prior to that, I think Raptors came about 1995. We were working off of like 3 bleachers up until like 2002, and that's when after that Vince came over, and he not only put himself on the map but the Raptors on the map too. Like if it wasn't for him, no one would know who the Raptors are. No
Yeah.
one would know that the Dino purple jerseys, like nothing. So I would say he put us on the map, which is why I think back in that time it would have been Vince who would be the best probably athlete in Toronto,
Oh yeah,
right?
I
Like
think Vince might be the most important athlete in the history of Toronto sports. Because without Vince, the Raptors may not be here right now.
that's very true.
It
Do
was
you?
in Oakland, California.
Oakland,
thank you.
I'm a horrible researcher on Google. I can't do it quickly.
We got a whole
like
conversation.
orangutans.
Yeah.
Yesterday, right? It just pops up.
Baboons.
Yeah.
It was in Oakland. Yeah. so
Okay,
go ahead.
but yeah,
yeah.
because I mean, listen, Vlad, the Jays have been around for a long time, with or without Vladdy,
No,
and at
that's
the time, the Raps were in a bad place until Vince arrived.
Would you say maybe the one after him could be Kawhi, just because Kawhi got the championship to Toronto as well? I know had he stayed longer, that would be easily Kawhi over Vince for me, but because
As far as most important athletes,
most
I
important.
mean, Raptors certainly.
Oh,
Raptors.
it's
But
Vince.
athletes, I mean, listen, look at with the Jays. Joe Carter was important
That's
with
true
that
too.
that moment. to win a World Series.
Yes.
Without Vince Carter, without that moment and him being the player that he ended up becoming and taking the Raptors to the playoffs, maybe the Raptors would be in the same position as the Vancouver Grizzlies.
We just said that, but you were too busy Googling where the All-Star game was. 2001 was.
Yeah.
Whenever it was.
I probably heard you say it, and I'm like, hey, this is a good
thing you got one camera on us, James.
My algorithm is telling me that I should talk about this.
Yeah. I'm programmed now.
But it was fun. But it's fun, right? It was a good contest.
It was.
It's still relevant. I think the superstars enter it, right? So, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and good for Vladdy, and hopefully he can carry that on with some confidence to the rest of the season.
72 home runs, 29 plus 1,000 feet in home runs for Vladdy. But production-wise, I still think that they can do better. I feel like it's just too much going on. Yeah, from the split screen, watching it, it's just so much going on.
Yeah.
You want to actually see like a better angle. I think, and I mentioned this on the Parlay Show earlier today, they should get the TrackMan, which they have in the PGA, where you can see the line of the ball when the player hits the ball.
Oh,
put that in the home run derby behind the plate. Yeah. And so you can see where he's hitting. You have a closer look at the batter. You could switch the angle every time to show off where the ball lands and stuff. But that's just a small little improvement they need to make. It's already pretty good, but it just seems kind of chaotic when you're watching the split screen.
The split screen kind of threw me off for a second too, because I just thought it's hard to focus and concentrate on what you should be seeing. Because I get you have to see the other end of it too, because it's so fast. But it takes it away because you almost feel like you're behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know what they could do besides that to fix it.
I don't know if you guys saw the video, but Vladdy took out a kid. Did you see this?
I think I saw a little bit.
Line drive. Do you know how those kids are in the outfield?
Yeah.
The kids like this, and right underneath the glove, bing,
so it's
right on the ground.
It's a kid's fault.
The kid's fault, But he went down and they cut away and he just kept going. I mean, what's he going to do? That kid's concussed.
He's got a record to beat,
Oh, yeah.
So was it a really young kid or an
he
older
probably
kid?
He was like 12 or something
12,
like that, 13 years old. But he took one off the dome. You have to see it. I wish we had the clip, but I don't even know if we can play that clip because it's from, I think, ESPN.
But okay, so you guys are probably around back. No offense, but back when like his dad was around, right? And he was
that's
like,
that's not offensive.
It's a little
yes,
offensive.
It was. Well, he won the home run derby in 04 and 07.
07, right?
Yeah.
So let's say, okay, because I would need to put that into perspective for me, who hasn't watched it since back then.
Right.
So you have prime Vladimir Guerrero, and then you got prime Vladdy Jr. Two of them, who's gonna come out on top
in a home run derby?
In a home run derby.
I think Junior is.
Question.
Junior, you think?
I think so. But at the end of his career. You should ask Zubes this, actually.
Yeah, we'll ask
I mean, listen, his dad was a Hall of Famer. Incredible. I think Junior is projecting to have bigger numbers. I'm going to
go with Dad just because he doesn't wear gloves, and I love that old school feel. Imagine that, hitting bombs with no gloves on.
Oh, that's insane.
But you're dropping some heavy-duty MLB questions these days.
I'm
Shohei versus
learn,
Shohei, Vladdy versus Vladdy. I don't have the answers for you. I wish I did.
It's all good. I'm just trying to think of it. No, that sounds interesting because I was just thinking, I'm like, does that, for Vladimir Guerrero, did he win as fast as Vladdy Jr. won, or was that a longer of a wait for him?
He had a bit of a gap from the last one, so
yeah.
I don't know if 2004 was Vlad Sr.'s first one. I'm assuming it was. I'll look that up. You know how long it takes me to look things up, right? So
no, please don't.
I'll have to do that after the show.
Look it up, and meanwhile you can steal one of our ideas and call it your own.
Well, that's what I do, right? I just listen to you guys in the newsroom and I'm like, okay, I'm going to say that on the show. It's the Zubes. Has he joined us? The Zubes is here. Let's bring in the Zubes, our main man. What's going on, Zubes?
I feel good. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, good to see you, man. It's the Zubes, Andrew Zuber, host of the Less Than Jays podcast. Make sure you go download and listen. Noor just posed a fantastic question. So who would win in a home run derby straight up? Vlad Sr., Vlad Jr., both at the peak of their powers.
Boy, that's tough. I lean because that dude could hit absolutely anything. Yeah. Sort of the Vladdy is a great hitter. Vlad Sr., you could pitch like a cricket pitcher to him. You could bounce it to him and he would hit it out of the park. His question, I guess, of the different styles of home run derby. It used to be 10 outs, 3 full minutes. I think Vlad Sr.
Sorry, Zubes, you're just cutting out a bit. Ellie, maybe
problem.
Leave and come back, and we'll continue this conversation.
It's Albert's algorithm once again causing issues.
It's my algorithm is screwing up the connection, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a great question.
I like that. I want to go back to that whole cricket metaphor you're using there, right? Bouncing a baseball first. You see, that's harder. I think that's harder to hit. I think it's harder to hit a cricket ball than a baseball.
I agree. I very much agree. We've played cricket growing up, so we would know where the
I played
experts
cricket
are.
as well. I swear to God.
When did you play cricket?
I played cricket
Which
in high
country?
school, not for high school. In my neighborhood,
Yeah.
all the older fathers and the uncles, they'd go and play in the park.
Really?
And I would
So you know
play.
that you get a cricket ball, bound leather, with
they
a
weren't
seam, a
throwing
big
it like
seam with
these
it,
guys.
bouncing off a wicket like this at various angles. I think it's harder than hitting a baseball. Anyway, sorry.
We got to try it. Okay, is the Zubes back? Can we bring the Zubes back in here? Here he is. It's the Zubes. How's the connection? Are we good?
No,
I have no.
The connection is doing the Mr.
apologize.
Roboto. No worries. So we'll try this one more time. Let's see. So I couldn't hear your answer on Vlad Sr. or Vlad Jr. What's the verdict?
He's thinking about it. He's very pensive.
I have lost.
Frozen. It's all right, Ali.
Sorry,
Let's pull him out and try and get back in.
Usually Zubes is like crystal clear.
I know, always.
His
I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Someone's trying to sabotage us. Obviously, this happens on our second show live on YouTube. But
That's all right.
Yeah, I don't know how they answer that question because I've never taken a 93-mile-an-hour slider coming at me. And
Both
I've never,
very difficult. Probably the hardest things in sport, both
Right.
of them, right? But I know there's a famous incident with Mike Gatting, who was an England batsman, got hit in the nose by a West Indian bowler called Malcolm Marshall, who was vicious. He bounced it, and the ball hit his nose. His nose exploded, and they found a bone fragment in the ball.
Jesus. No, they didn't.
They did.
That's not true.
No, it's not a myth.
That's not. Yeah,
True.
it is.
Malcolm Marshall.
A bone
Google him.
fragment in the bone.
Don't tell
No, I'm not
Google
Googling. You don't
right
know how long
now.
that takes.
Yeah, you shouldn't ask
Are you
Albert.
serious?
Oh, he just destroyed his nose. Yeah.
Why don't they wear like a?
They do now.
They do now, yeah.
Back in the good old days.
Oh, yeah, the
Didn't
tough
need to,
days,
right? Yeah, I'm not going to wear a mask, lose my eye.
Because it's also tough for cricket. I'm sure it's a little bit like that too for baseball, but the cricket, you also have the edge of a curveball where you don't know where the ball's going.
Exactly.
And if you're going to be the batsman, it's very hard to see if you're going to be safe or not from the ball.
Yeah.
And when that ball hits, because of how fast it's going and how thick that ball is, I know a baseball ball is bigger, but I think the cricket ball is like harder. Yeah, it's like
I'll bring my cricket ball in tomorrow.
it's really tough. And if that's coming at your face, yeah, that hurts. I've had that hit me
You can
a couple
you can
times.
have
I
a good.
bet.
You can handle my balls tomorrow, okay?
Oh, sure.
And then you can find out just how hard a
you think
cricket ball is.
Shohei Ohtani can hit a cricket ball?
Probably.
How fast do they come in?
100.
What's the number?
More than 120 kilometers per hour.
I
At
think
least.
Is
I
that
think
faster or the baseball ball faster?
I think cricket's faster
Cricket's
with the run
faster,
up.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And bouncing off
Because
the.
they run up, you're right.
Yeah, how's Zubes' connection? Is he back? The Zubes is back. He looks crystal clear. Are you back, Zubes?
Do I look crystal clear? I've minimized the window. I can't see you guys going pure audio. Please let me know.
We can see you. It looks good. We're getting a little choppy in terms of the audio, but let's go with it. If it does not work, we'll figure it out. Vladdy Sr., Vladdy Jr., what was the verdict?
I picked Senior because that dude could hit any pitch out of the ballpark at any point. Vladdy is a very good hitter. Vlad Sr., you had to be there. One of those things. And they used to only get 10 outs, right? You used to only get 10 non-home runs before you were done. These guys get 3 full minutes. I would think Vlad Sr. with this to hit like 100.
What was your overall thoughts on the home run derby this year? See,
Derby.
Sharms has got me saying derby. It's thrown me off. Derby.
I mean, it's a great moment. I think had redemption tour. Nice to see Pete Alonso lose. The kid getting the hit in the head. It's fine. It's good. You know, it's not for the hardcores. It's my nephews related it a little more casual, a little more light. So for that, no complaints.
I was saying on the production side, I think they can improve the viewing experience because the split screen is kind of chaotic, right? There's a lot going on. You guys are hitting so many home runs in such a short amount of time that maybe they go with like the golf TrackMan behind the catcher so you can see where the ball is going and you have that type of MLB The Show angle to change it up for fans.
Albert, I hesitate this, but that's a really good idea. I think that's brilliant. I think behind the plate is way better. I agree with you that it was hard for me to keep track of how many home runs were being hit. You just knew that Julio was hitting a lot and Vlad was hitting a lot, and because they have to move the camera to track the ball, I agree. It was easy to get distracted and get lost. You just know that fans are going nuts. I think that's a good improvement. Well done.
No, thank you, man. The backhanded compliment. I really appreciate that. So the All-Star game is tonight, Zubes. Can you make a case for people to actually care about this game? Because there's not really much to like about it, to be honest, outside of seeing stars.
I didn't know this was. I didn't know that. I got to come in and carry the weight from the All-Star game being in. There's nothing else on.
This is it.
It's this or nothing. That's my big. It's this or sports today.
Sorry, Zubes, you're chopping up pretty good again. We're gonna have to try and cut the cord on you once again. I'm so sorry, buddy. The Zubes is always great. What's going on?
It's not Zubes' fault.
I know.
It's damn technology.
Who should we blame it on? Ellie, producer Ellie?
Yeah, Ellie. It's blaming Ellie. Yeah, it's never an issue when Sean's here.
We will have the Zubes back on once again once the connection is figured out, because he always brings us incredible insights. He's a funny guy. He's a great guy. Even though there's a bit of a backhanded compliment saying, well, I hesitate to say this, but I agree with you.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
Fair enough, right? Fair play?
160 kilometers per hour, by the way, is kind of the average fast cricket delivery.
Okay.
It's fast. It's I mean, you probably know Shohei Ohtani from the Pakistan. He was like the fastest ballsman ever. And whenever I saw him play, it was just, you can't see the ball. Like, I know I always joke about not being able to see the hockey puck in hockey. I'm like, how do you even tell where the hockey puck, what's happening where? But with that, like, you really can't see how fast it's going. And you can, if you put a curve on it, which means after the ball bounces, it takes into a whole different direction.
Right.
You're done for.
Or you swing it in so it comes in at an angle like a curveball or a slider, and then hits a curve and goes the other way. Hits the
fielders have such a tough job too, right? No gloves. It's all barehanded, right?
Don't need gloves.
I can't even imagine those dudes' hands, the callus on those guys' hands.
Grew up.
It's called a man.
Oh,
yeah.
It's called a man. Yeah.
Sexist, but nice.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. Ellie's saying crazy stuff to us again. But let's talk about Shohei Ohtani. So just quickly, at Media Day, he was asked about a lot of things, free agency and basically how he's feeling right now. He says, "It sucks to lose. I want to win." The Angels out of a playoff spot. It looks like they're going to miss the playoffs once again. And I can't believe it, but we're going over it. Mike Trout has only been in the playoffs one time in 2014.
That's a crime.
That was the last time the Angels were in the playoffs. So, 9 years?
It's time, Mike. It's time to
move
for
on. Mike and Ohtani.
I want to see this guy and what he can do in the postseason. Do you know how his postseason was? No idea. It's a long time ago.
He played 3 games. There wasn't much there. Ohtani also touched on free agency. He goes, "I've never been a free agent before, so I'm not sure how that's going to be. I'm focused on this season right now. I just want to do my best, yada, yada, yada." He says, "I treat every season as a special season. This season is no different, regardless if I'm a free agent or not."
I think we can tell Shohei that, I think you might enjoy free agency. I think it might be something that you'll appreciate when you get the offers coming in. He's in such a great position.
He's like, if I get traded or if I walk in free agency, I'm getting paid.
What's he getting paid? What are we talking here? 600?
Well, the number is 500 to 600.
Over how many years?
It depends. It could be, I don't know, 8 years maybe.
I mean, there's no one else in professional sport like him. Not just now, but maybe ever. Do you remember someone that's so dominant?
Ruth, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? And who knows the myth of Babe Ruth, what actually baseball was like.
Yeah,
back
but
then.
I don't even think Babe Ruth was doing what Ohtani's doing right now in terms of at this level.
Because we spoke about it earlier today in the Parlay show, about what is the comparison, right? A guy that can pitch as an ace and also a guy that hits the way he hits. There's nothing else, right? In football, okay, if someone's a quarterback, perhaps, and plays both sides of the ball, then maybe a comparison there. But if he's a top quarterback, but I just don't see anything else like it in professional sports. He is the epitome of the term unicorn, which is overused in sports, but he really is.
Well, they used to call certain basketball players unicorns, but you can only do so many things, right?
Yeah. You can play offense and defense, but I feel like at that level, it's not the same when you're watching someone do it like alone, not as a team. And Shohei Ohtani, when you're putting up numbers on batting and pitching, you can't. I feel like that's not easily stood out on a basketball court the way that it might be in a baseball
dunk contest and 3-point contest.
Yeah,
it'd
be offense, defense,
shoot, right?
Yeah.
Everyone shoots, everyone dunks. Well, most people do. The Zubes, are you back?
I hope so.
Yes.
I hope so.
He's back. You're clear.
Okay.
Audio's good. We were just talking about Ohtani, and he obviously was at Media Day. He said some things. He goes, "It sucks to lose. I want to win. I've never been in free agency. I don't know what it's like, but regardless, I want to win." The cliche that a lot of these players will say. So heading into the second half of the season, what is your expectation for Ohtani? Is it a trade that's going to come soon because it doesn't look like the Angels are going to make the playoffs, or are they going to let him walk at the end of the season?
I don't think it's a trade. Listen, I know it's sort of you have the asset mindset of like you can't lose him for nothing. You also make money like hand over fist just having him on your team in terms of the dollars we don't see, the marketing money, the jersey sales, the television revenue. He is an enterprise unto himself, and you're never winning the Ohtani trade. There's no package that you're getting that you're like, oh, we really made out well there, I would just roll with it. I would try to add to the team and try to make the playoffs. It's supposed to be hard. That is the advantage that baseball has over these other sports is half the league doesn't make the playoffs every year. It's supposed to be difficult to make the MLB playoffs. That's part of what makes it special. That's part of what makes September exciting. I don't know that the Angels are as motivated to make a deal as the transaction brain that we all sort of inhibit would make you think. It's possible. It's certainly possible. I know if I were running the Angels, I certainly wouldn't be doing it. I'd be doing everything I could to keep him. I'd be doing everything I could to add to the team. Just my personal feeling on that.
Yeah, the Angels 7 games back in the AL West, 5 games back in the wild card. Rendon down, Trout down. Ohtani's got a blister. It's not looking good for the Angels once again. It's like around this time of the year, this is where they start to crumble, and that's happening. So let's talk about the package, though, for Ohtani. Okay, we'll get to the Jays because I want to do a hypothetical because who doesn't want to do that? Ohtani on the Jays, that'd be fantastic. But if you're putting together a package for Ohtani, what's involved? I'm assuming there's maybe a star player and your entire farm system for this guy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the Jays, it would be Tiedemann, it would be Arelis Martinez, it would be basically anybody not named Guerrero or probably Bichette, I would say at this point, and everyone else is probably fair game, right? You're looking at a guy that helps you have 2 really important roster positions. You're getting a hitter and you're getting a pitcher in one roster spot. So you could even say maybe you would throw Alek Manoah in that because you have a ton of other pitchers already under contract that are veterans, and you have him with a ton of team control. It would be your entire farm. It would be your most promising pitcher. It would be your best young pitcher and probably your best young position player on your roster. The thing is, aside from Vlad and Bell, they don't really have a ton of long-term position players locked down. Even you want to say, oh, you give them Bichette. Bichette's due up in 2 years. You're getting 2 years of Bichette. You're not getting, it's not 2019. You're not looking at 6 years of Bo Bichette control anymore. You're looking at 2. That lowers the value as good a player as he is. So, like I said, you're not going to win this deal if you're the Angels. If you wanted to do a hypothetical Blue Jays thing, load up MLB Pipeline, load up your Fangraphs prospects, and select all would be how I would do it.
Yeah, so if you're a team, you're getting absolutely fleeced, and you still got to pay the guy $600 million. But man, he's exciting. Who wouldn't want to see that guy every single day, especially at the Dome? I know it's not going to happen, but man, let a man dream. Okay, let's speak about the Toronto Blue Jays. Ended off on a high note. Got a decent outing from Alek Manoah. They somehow got no hit the next game and then had to win it late to win the series against the Tigers. Heading into the second half of the season, or the unofficial second half of the season, what are your realistic expectations for this team?
Realistic is a great question.
Yes.
They're going to make the playoffs. Like they just are. They just I know that it seems maybe that's a little crazy, but like they're somehow, some way in a playoff spot right now. There's a line of thinking that you can say a lot of the bad things that could happen to them have already happened to them. You had Vlad go a month without hitting a home run. You had Alek Manoah completely implode. You had them go 3 weeks without having a hit with runners in scoring position. You could sort of say like every team's going to have a month where they don't play very well. The Rays have dropped a ton of games. They've made up 3.5 games from the Rays in the last month. That went from looking like it was a double-digit deficit to now it's within 7 games. It's manageable. It's one good month of baseball away from being a conversation. The teams ahead of them are the Rays and the Orioles, who have played very well, but sort of some trappings of fraud alert maybe in the air. I don't know that those teams are as good as they certainly have been in the first half. I'm pretty optimistic. I know it seems backwards to go through as hard a stretch as they just did and be like, I feel optimistic, but it feels like they've gotten a bunch of the tribulations and a bunch of the issues and a bunch of the problems sort of out of the way, and they have found a way to stay in it despite really having bad break after bad break after bad break in terms of on-field performance. So I feel optimistic. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I expect them to probably host a wild card game. If we're not being realistic, I think they might win the American League East, to be frank with you.
Oh, I like that, Zubes. I'm with you. I'm super optimistic, man. Look at the wild card. You have the Yankees behind them, who are a disaster. They just fired their hitting coach. We don't know when Judge is coming back. Boston, who knows? Seattle kind of imploding as well. The Angels are a disaster. So it feels like a wild card spot is a lock. I mean, nothing actually is a lock, but it's promising for the Blue Jays. Okay, so the trade deadline is coming up. After Manoah's outing, do you still believe the Jays should go after another starter, or should they turn their attention towards maybe adding a few more bats?
I think priority number one is probably a fourth outfielder, probably somebody that ensures you against bad matchups for your left-handed outfielders in Varsho and Kiermaier, somebody that doesn't have to play center field. You have enough center field defense. You have basically 3 center fielders out there. They've had the best center field and outfield defense in all of baseball by a lot of metrics this year. So they can afford to have a fourth guy that is really bat first. If I had to literally draw up an ideal guy, hilariously, it would be Teoscar Hernandez. That's the guy that they need. Somehow, some way. Would the deal be for Eric Swanson? I doubt it. But that's the archetype of the kind of guy that they can afford to go get right now. A DH that helps them supplement those Brandon Belts at bats, those days off that they're going to need for Kiermaier, the days off they're going to need for Springer. They have the space. They're basically, Nathan Lucas is their 26th man. They're sort of punting on that fourth outfield 26-man slot. So I would be looking at a slugger, at a guy that can hit there, and then. Yes, Manoah being back is helpful, and Ryu being around the corner is helpful, but they would be the first team in baseball history to say we have too much pitching. It's just not a thing that exists. You can always upgrade your bullpen. You can always upgrade your rotation. So I think they will be sniffing around similar to the 2020 deadline when they were looking at Robbie Ray, when they grabbed Taijuan Walker. I think they will be looking to maybe identify a guy that has struggled this year but has the underlying numbers what they're looking for, and that they can maybe reclaim and have a nice stretch run to. I think they'll make upgrades in both spots for depth and for matchup proofing this lineup, which is what the playoffs and the stretch run becomes all about.
Yeah, I love that. And Zubes, listen, dude, before we let you go, tell us what's going on with the Less Than Jays podcast. When's the newest episode dropping?
Recording tonight. Yeah, it's been a hot minute. Jake's been acting. He's got a stage. He's on stage. He's got a play he's doing up in Aurelia. So we're doing the first half look back. We just finished the first half. We got, as you said, it was some of what we talked about here. We're going to look at the deadline coming up. Lots going on. It's a very exciting time. We're in the halfway point. So it's time to evaluate and look at what we need to add.
Exciting times. Thanks so much, man. We appreciate you hanging out despite the issues. Another guest would have told us, I think, to go where.
Thank you for your patience. Apologize for the choppiness.
Thanks, buddy. Take care. That's the Zubes, Andrew Zuber, host of the Less Than Jays podcast.
He may have said that to us, but we couldn't hear him because he was breaking up.
Yeah, he could have been saying that. He's like,
no.
Beep, 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 beep. Zubes is great. I love that dude.
Amazing dude.
It's a great podcast, too.
Yeah,
I haven't heard Aurelia in such a long time. I used to live in Aurelia.
Did you frequent Casino Rama? No.
How old do you think I was when I lived in Aurelia? Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me go, 16-year-old.
That is the only thing I know about Aurelia is that Casino Rama.
Well, now you know 2 things.
Well, 3 now. Also, Zube's partner does a
that's right.
podcast partner
this
has
is
a
the
play
Aurelia
up there.
podcast today. Okay, let's talk some basketball. Noor. Pascal Siakam.
Yes.
Where should we begin here?
Let's throw up this poll. We actually went on the Homestand Twitter account. If you do, please follow us at Homestand on Twitter, everywhere on social media as well. But we took there today because I wanted to gather a look to see how Twitter is feeling, because Twitter is very loud, very expressive. They like to know and let you know how they're doing very often. So I asked you guys, I said, what should Masai Ujiri do? And I made a mistake of sending this at 12 p.m. and not right before we recorded, because of course that's when Michael Grange came out and told us actually there's another team also in the sweepstakes for Pascal Siakam, which we'll get to that later. But I put out, what should Masai Ujiri do? A bunch of you, 40.6%, said Pascal extension. I think I know why you said that, but let me hold my opinion back on that. A bunch of you at 18.8 said trade him to Hawks. 32%, the next best after Pascal extension, said to trade to the Pacers. That just came out the other day. And then I put it up there. I'm like, okay, what do you want to keep Pascal? How about OG? And they're like, nope, we're going to keep OG. So what happened was, after that, Michael Grange came out and said, now the Orlando Magic are also in the sweepstakes of wanting to get Pascal Siakam on that team. And Pascal has still come out and said that he does not want to go anywhere. He wants to stay here, wants to sign the extension. I'm not understanding why he would now want to stay somewhere. Like, imagine you're a homegrown superstar. Maybe not a superstar, but you're a star. You're an all-star. You're a homegrown all-star. You're sticking to this team that's drafted you, brought you on. You were with their G League. You won a championship with them, and you now consider this place to be your home. And now you realize, well, they've just escorted out my number 2, which is Fred VanVleet, and they still haven't figured out their direction of what they want to do next year. And now I've been in the rumors this entire year. Every other month, I'm being thrown into this new trade package. Don't know if it's the Raptors leaking or different teams leaking. And now it's seeming as if every day a new team comes into town. But you're still saying, I want to stay here. Would you not feel wronged?
I think so, and I think it's also getting to the stage where it's kind of awkward now.
It's so because I think if
they need to part ways, I believe.
If they want to keep him and if they want to bring him on,
that's the reason, isn't it?
Well, it's the not even supermax. It's just the max extension.
Yeah.
So it's not even
of the
like
cap,
he's
which
asking.
is about 50.
It's not even like he's asking much, because had he actually won All-NBA last year, he would be entitled to more money this year, but he didn't. And because of that, it's not asking for a lot. And this is the very few times where a star has come out in Toronto and said, I want to stay here. Usually they're like, kick me out, send me a plane, I'm ready to chart it.
That's a really good point, actually.
You know, it's the first time where besides
burned,
Dame,
right?
they're like, besides DeMar, where they're like, this is my spot, I want to be here.
Yeah.
So I think the only way they can salvage this relationship now is if they give him what he wants money-wise, and sign the extension. It could be maybe a year less, not 4 years to 3 years. But because of that factor too, and seeing how he's been handled so poorly, fans are all mad at the front office, because they're thinking, how do you treat someone like this who has not only been here this entire time, but who's now still saying to this day, I want to sign here.
But they're doing their job though, right? They're just investigating the market, what's out there. Is it a rebuild? What is happening right now, and is this guy really worth that kind of money? He's a good player, coming off a pretty decent season individually. Is he a guy you want to commit that much money to? Is there someone else out there?
I think if you figure out direction for your team, then, and if you want to go younger, which is what they should be doing, then he does not fit your team and you should not pay him. But the problem is they've signed on 2 veterans already, in Jakob Poeltl and Gary Trent, and you gave away your first round pick for next year to bring on Pascal Siakam. So there's no way you're getting any better next year either. There's no way. Like, no matter what happens this year, you're not going to get any better. So I think the best thing they can do for him and for this team is to send him somewhere where they can obviously get the best package back, but also maybe do a little right by him and send him to a team where he can probably do well too. It's not going to be like, a basement dweller where he has to go and pick the dust off the ground or something. But here, now he can go somewhere where it's going to be a spot where he can actually still compete to a certain degree. Maybe not entirely, but it sounds like Masai's is not like what's coming to fruition in terms of the contract and deals that are out there. But if he's not careful, we could see him walk the same way that Freddie did.
Yeah, and listen, if he makes an All-NBA team, he'll be eligible for a 35% of the cap, so another max. So who knows what will happen. But this team usually has players who aren't very loyal, stars who aren't loyal to this team. You think Vince Carter, you think Kawhi, and you can even probably go back to Tracy McGrady. They just walk. They don't want to be here. This guy wants to be here. It doesn't mean that they should sign him.
No, of course.
I mean, it's up to the team. Listen, it's not on Masai and the Raptors to decide whether we got to do right by this guy. We got to send him to this team because it'll help him. True. Because it's all about what are we getting back. But if you've seen what's going to be available, which I'm sure they know, they're letting the market dictate what they're going to do, which is probably the wrong way to go about it. They're not going to get anything even close to return. You're going to get from Pascal Siakam.
And it's the criticism towards him right now because he's had a bad team around him the last couple of years. And that's not his fault. If they built a better team around him, he could be coming off deep playoff runs. And sign him. Everyone would say sign him, right?
I think so. I think the other part of it, unfortunately, is the fact that you got to wonder, is he the kind of guy that's going to be the number one option on a team that's going to go and win something?
Right.
Maybe not. And that's what made them realize. Well, fans, I think, knew from the beginning, where after we saw him play a couple playoff series, we knew that he's a great player, but he might be the second option to a winning team.
So he is the new DeMar. Isn't he?
I didn't say it.
Really,
you said
really
it.
good player. Really good player. Not really the top dude. So you can trade him for the top dude potentially.
Absolutely. I think, but the problem now, James, is the fact that Pascal knows that he's being shopped, and he knows that other teams are in the mix for this now too. So he's had his agent go out to other teams like the Hawks and stuff who express interest, and he told them that, well, if he comes here, he will not sign the extension. So he's doing a little bit of what Dame's doing, which is taking your own value.
It's pretty much the exact same thing as what Dame's doing. It's the player and the agent are dictating their terms.
Yeah. It's just the opposite, where Pascal's like, no, I want to stay here, and Dame's like, get me out of here. Yeah. So it's just, it's crazy to see how much, like, I love the fact that they have the player empowerment, but it's also a little bit like, well, now do contracts even really matter? Do rules even really matter, you know?
The Raptors need to make a decision and make it quickly. Like, I keep saying it. It's Pascal, it's Scotty. One of them's got to go. It's most likely going to be him. But if no one else is going to pay, maybe it's Siakam, and you keep Scotty. But then you're putting Darko in a horrible position as a new head coach, right? Because now you got to deal with these two personalities who, from reports, didn't get along.
You want to know how chaotic the front office is right now for the Raptors? When Darko got hired, Darko was not told about what's happening behind the scenes. So he went up to the players, met them, shook hands, exchanged everything. This whole time, he had no idea what had transpired behind the scenes, but the players, with the coaches, with Freddie, everything. So he essentially signed up for the job without knowing the dirty laundry of this team.
Isn't it part of his job to do that research, though? Make some calls?
Absolutely.
It's a small league, right? You can find out what's happened. You can find out about the dirty laundry if you want it.
Yeah,
or
that's
you just
true
jump
too.
at the first job offered to him.
That's true too. James got the wise wisdom here. I can't even. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
This is why he's a grizzled veteran, man. He knows what's going on.
I do. Mind you, had I done my research, would I be sitting here right now?
You're
do you prefer
with you two?
Grizzled or weathered?
It's grizzled.
Grizzled.
Yes,
okay,
grizzled.
Yeah, we retired the weathered idea. Yeah.
Before we wrap up,
this
NBA talk, I want to just touch on the Blazers GM. He came out and mentioned that they're willing to wait months to move on Dame. He said some very interesting things, actually. He goes, I think the teams that have ended up in the most positive situation post-trade have been the ones that really have been diligent, taking their time and not being impulsive, or teams that really kept their urgency under control. So instead of just pulling the trigger because Dame wants out, he's waiting to find out what he can get, the best package possible for Dame, which is going to be difficult to do. Mm-hmm. But I like that he's doing that. It's almost like he's taking it, the Blazers are taking it back into control of their own hands. Listen, I know you want to leave, you're forcing your way out, but this is only going to work if it works for us. Love that.
Only problem with that, I would say, is like maybe you get greedy with it, which I think Masai and Bobby did.
Where you try to.
Yeah, well, you could wait there for a contract, and then you're like, you know what, I can get a better one. I can get a better one. I can get a better one. And time comes and you're like, oh, that window has now passed.
Yeah,
the same thing that happened for Freddie. Yeah, now you can't get anything out of it.
Right.
But I think for Dame, it's definitely better to wait a little bit longer, but not let it to a point where all the teams are like, well, I don't want him now. He's getting older, because he's a little bit older too. His prime is right now, but it's definitely on the falling end of it kind of thing. But in terms of him staying there and going anywhere else, I feel like there's teams that can make those trades. If you saw the Brooklyn Nets, like when they traded for, they gave out Kyrie Irving, gave out Kevin Durant, they've got good pieces in return from Phoenix Suns too. So I can see both ends. Only thing is, you gotta either be Masai Ujiri about it, or you gotta be the Brooklyn Nets about it, where you can't wait too long with Freddie, as Freddie just walked, or you have you have Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant got them the perfect pieces in Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, where the Nets now have a solid young group of guys that they can build on. So I'm fine. Blazers, I'm a little bit careful here.
Yeah, I think so. The Blazers got some great young players right now. Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, it looks like a real baller as well. And the Blazers GM, Joe Cronin, also said he wants to do right by Dame as well for his loyalty. So find a team that works for him, but also works for the Blazers. So who knows how this is going to end. We talked about this off the air, but how are we going to get Dame to Toronto? And then we ended up somehow on, can James Harden come to the Toronto Raptors? How are we going to make that happen? But that's
so
crazy.
Far this week, Birdie's got Ohtani coming to the Blue Jays. He's got Dame coming to the Raptors and Harden coming to the... God knows what's next.
I'm just posing the question. That's all. No one else is posing these questions.
He's just
I'm
the
trying to do it.
instigator. The
Messi to
pastor.
TFC. There's a way.
Yeah, speaking of Messi, we have to start talking about some footy. Noor Zainab, thanks so much.
Thanks
as
so
always.
much for having me, guys.
Great job.
For joining us. Make sure you follow her on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. Noor Zainab, where else should they follow you? Threads?
No, not yet.
TikTok?
I will get there soon, but I will be on the Ticker Talker soon as well. I'm on Instagram, but wait for James. James is the main guy on TikTok. He's got the young audience, the kids. They know what they're doing, and we'll get there one day too. But I'll grab you Sara Porarria right now.
I'm hip to the teenage
so
beat, that is for
sure.
sure.
You guys got a big following. I have like 800 followers. Pretty sad. But hey, what are you going to do? Hey, and Noor just made fun of me on Nowhere Out, so that's good. Sharms, can you give me some of your followers, dude?
No, you don't want them.
Why not?
They're not good people.
I know you got some
dark
beasts chasing you.
They lurk in the dark recesses of culture.
Is that Jimmy Sharman? Oh, entering the building, ladies and gentlemen.
It's Sara Porarria.
From Spain to Toronto.
Still bragging about her tan.
And Italy, it's Sara Porarria.
Yes, we know you're in Italy. Jeez, before you mention it. Oh, God. You can't have a conversation with Sara. Within like 10 seconds, she. But by the way, I was in Italy.
No, you guys asked because I'm so tan. That's why.
Did you eat some popo? Did you eat some octopus out there?
Lots,
Oof.
yeah. Arancini,
nice.
Sicily, known for arancini, and Sicilian cannolis, and gelato.
Are you talking about like right backs for Italy over the years or food?
This guy.
Cannoli was fantastic. Great pace.
Oh, we're at 50 minutes. This is a long show today.
Yeah.
Let's get into some footy.
That's right. Good show.
Okay, Porarria. 3 footy headlines we should know about right now. That's going on.
All right, well, here you guys go. As you can see, big unveiling in Miami next week. Yes, it's Lionel Messi finally arriving in the United States, but just tweeted actually from Inter Miami, breaking, is that it's going to be... Why are we laughing? You're the worst.
So David De Gea, that's the right De Gea. Onana, that's the wrong Onana. Onana plays for Inter. That's Everton's
that is the wrong
Onana.
Who I said, right. Who would be a great signing, actually.
What did I say? Not too long ago.
Midfielder
he might become one of the best midfielders in the world.
Oh, no. Okay.
Sorry, back to your
Messi
spiel.
Messi board, because it was a mistake-ridden board.
Yes.
Look good, though.
Listen.
Not for the wrong people.
Miami tweeted out that's going to be a massive unveiling, hints that Sergio Busquets will also be there. So it's going to be
The announcement will be Busquets too, or it'd be Messi by himself, surely?
They're hinting. They're saying that it's going to be bigger than what we expect. They just tweeted this out. So there's a lot of rumors that it's going to be Boosie with him as well. We'll see. But over the week, we saw actually just yesterday, David Beckham, Jesus.
David
Beckham, and the mural being painted in Miami. Here we go. Thanks, Posh, for this vid. But look at that.
That's great.
This is you can see for perspective just how big it is with that crane and the gentleman, I guess, painting.
Beckham needs to relax a little bit.
No.
Look what I created. Like,
well, look, he brought his club when he signed with
but he's standing there like
LA all those years ago. They said, listen, within 20 years you'll own your own team. It's going to be in Miami. And back then, do you think he would have thought in his wildest dreams he'd be signed the greatest footballer of all time? It's amazing, right?
No, you have to give him credit.
And those murals I love. You see them all around Europe, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need more of those,
South
I think, in Canada.
He's got his in Argentina
A few years ago, I saw a huge Mohamed Salah one in New York City.
Unreal.
Massive. Yeah.
In New York City? Why?
New York City. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Well,
you know what it was? It was the... it was in August, so it would have been the start of the Premier League season. So I think it was part of the ad campaign.
CBS type thing?
I think so.
Or NBC?
NBC at the time.
NBC, yeah.
They have a bunch of the Kobe ones in LA, obviously.
That's right, yeah.
But you don't see the football ones as much. And this is just bananas because he hasn't even joined
I know, it's crazy.
yet.
This is becoming real. It's feeling realer now that this is happening.
It's exciting as hell.
It is exciting.
A little bit of Sarah's dying, I know, but she's also a little bit excited. So
you are.
You're going to be watching more
more
MLS
excited
than ever before.
Well, I'm not going to be able to see him at any of these games because they're all sold out until 2025.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to get tickets.
Let's get a press pass.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I think we'll find
Kev?
it.
We should probably touch on Kylian Mbappe and that whole situation at PSG.
We
do this all the time, even on Room 442, which is a footy show here at the Homestand show. It's always Mbappe. Will he stay? Will he go? He's staying. Is he the best player in the world? Is he not the best player in the world? But this saga continues and goes on and on and on. Is he going to be starting a season at PSG, or are we going to expect to see him in the white of Real Madrid?
Well, first of all, this is James' favorite subject to talk about. The Kylian Mbappe saga, I know, drives you crazy. But the news is that today is that he wants to stay for this final year and finish out his contract and play with PSG and then obviously leave next June on a free. Now, PSG are saying absolutely not. But where exactly is he going to go? Former sporting director, I have a quote here, Leonardo, came out and said, it's getting spicy in France. He came out and said, I think the time has come for Mbappe to go no matter what. PSG existed before Kylian Mbappe, and it will exist after him. He's been in Paris for 6 years, and over those 6 seasons, 5 different clubs have won the Champions League, none of which had Mbappe in their ranks. That means it's entirely possible to win this competition without him. Shots have been fired here in Paris.
Well, what does that mean about the league, though?
It means Leonardo is an angry man, and I mean he's a good football man, and he went through it with Mbappe.
Yeah, they don't like each other.
Not much
we should say that
there.
they don't like each other. But I mean, it's really getting heated. Apparently, the owner of PSG and Mbappe have had fallen out. Players have fallen out with him. Obviously, Luis Enrique has come in. I don't know if they have much of a relationship yet, but it doesn't really seem like Mbappe's wanted in Paris at all from any perspective at this point. And the question is, of course, where does he go? Who has the money to pay for Mbappe?
One club. Real Madrid.
Yeah. But do they want Mbappe after everything that they went through last summer and all the turmoil and the way he treated them after it was looking like he was going to go?
So Saudi Arabia, that's the answer.
Do you know what? Like,
imagine that.
I can, though. I can see him go to Saudi because that's where he's going to get paid, and he will be the superstar. He will be the guy, and that's who he wants to be. He wants to be the guy.
If a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it really make a sound or fall? I forget the exact saying, but you get what I'm saying here.
What were you trying to say?
That if he scores 3,000 goals in Saudi Arabia, but no one's watching, doesn't matter, is my point, right? It doesn't matter. You know what? He's got to give himself a good look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And what do you want in life? You know, you've won pretty much everything apart from the Champions League. Mm-hmm. But stop being such a diva. My God, it's got to be all on his terms. Just play football. You're a rich man. You've got generational wealth, whether you stay at PSG or go somewhere else. Just play football. Mm-hmm. All this crap about... Ellie, will you shut up?
This guy, producer Ellie.
Ellie is just not a big fan of Mbappe, apparently. Ellie's a big fan of MLS more than anything. You have to see him here. But yeah, I mean, I'm frustrated by him because he's such a brilliant... He is the best player in world football, I think, at this point. But all the baggage that comes with him, I don't know. I mean, he's always going to be worth it. We've seen what he can do on the pitch, but it's just frustrating.
And PSG gave him everything they possibly could to try and win the Champions League, and they still couldn't do it. I mean, you're playing with Neymar, you're playing with Messi, and you still can't get it done. Listen, he's going to end up still becoming one of the, if not the best player in the world. Yeah. It'd be nice to see him, I think, in the Premier League, though. That's personal for me. I mean, that gets the most coverage out here in North America. In Spain, it's difficult. You know how difficult it is to watch La Liga here. Mm-hmm. So let's see him at a big club in England, but probably not going to happen.
I mean, I just feel like this is not the end of the Mbappe saga. And unfortunately for us here, we will be talking about it frequently.
What is the end of De Gea? I mean, that's interesting. This is a guy that won trophies with Manchester United, was at a time the best goalkeeper in England, for sure. Not so great in recent years, was promised a new contract, a big contract on the table. They then pulled it off, didn't they? Last minute, and now he's a free agent.
Yeah.
Not treated very well.
Yeah, not treated very well, kind of kicked out after the season has ended. Bruno Fernandes, teammate, dear friend of his, came out and said you deserved to say goodbye at the stadium with all the fans cheering for you, for all your beautiful memories. You made history at the club and your name will never be forgotten, and no one can take that away from you. So for Bruno Fernandes, really upset about this. I'm sure a lot of Man United fans are upset about this because, yeah, like you said, he was one of the best keepers in England. He was one of the best keepers for Man United, maybe in club history. And yeah, the way when you see players go out when it's not during a season, when you know that there's a no goodbye, that celebration leaves a bit of a sour taste in your mouth, even though I think it was De Gea's time to go. But then we all kind of knew that this season anyways.
Listen,
so
I feel like most United fans aren't even upset about this.
Really?
No, you know what they've been talking about over the past few seasons? They wanted him gone because he's such a mistake-prone keeper.
But don't you think that
he's
he
a good keeper,
deserves
but he's
a
made a lot of
goodbye?
mistakes.
Yeah, but now they're playing a midfielder in goal next year in Onana.
Yes.
I mean, that's not great, is it?
Yes. Onana, good keeper from Inter.
Actually, really good keeper.
Manchester
He's
United.
Good signing for United overall.
Hugo Lloris linked to Inter Milan, which
how do you feel about that?
What do you think about that, Birdie?
He's passed it a little bit.
Yeah,
I think
so.
To go to Inter to replace Onana doesn't really make sense to me.
No.
I know he's always wanted PSG, but that's obviously not going to happen.
I think he's set up for MLS, I thought.
I could see that totally.
Yeah.
But where does De Gea go? That's an interesting one.
He's a good goalkeeper. He's a good, but he made so much money at United.
Oh, so Saudi Arabia.
Close. Yeah.
There you go.
There we go again.
Him and Karim Benzema.
Mistake-prone keeper. Sounds like Tottenham Hotspur. There you go. Dave De Gea to Tottenham Hotspur. Okay, quickly. Wimbledon is going on.
Yeah.
What's the latest?
Well, Djokovic did beat Rublev. He went down in the first set and came back and smashed him. Shock, he is the man of Wimbledon. We know this. He's looking to tie Roger Federer's 8-time wins with this one this year. So that's really exciting. And we have tomorrow Medvedev and Eubanks, the young American who's
what a story.
I mean, what a story. Not even ranked right now, but going up against number 3 Medvedev, this is going to be tricky. I think this is maybe where his road comes to an end, but still fantastic for him. And then on the other side, Rune and Carlos Alcaraz. And it's looking like it's going to be Alcaraz and Djokovic once again, which is the marquee matchup.
That's the match. That's what everyone wants to see,
anyways, right? Yeah. So women's side, big story. Iga Swiatek out, number 1. So it gives space for maybe a younger player to come up and win. Another younger player. I mean, she's 22. What am I talking about? But they're also all
That's crazy.
Yes, but she was an overwhelming favorite, as was Novak Djokovic. So that's a huge upset. Okay, let's wrap up the show quickly. I want to touch on this Fury Ngannou. Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou going to fight October 29th in a boxing match, Sharms, in Saudi Arabia. The fight will take place in a regulation boxing ring under boxing rules, including 3 ringside judges using the 10-point must system. So,
and probably not for a belt, not for Fury's belts, right?
No, this is a
exhibition fight.
Exhibition celebrity type
There's
play.
fights that want to happen right now, and that's Usyk against Fury and John Jones against Ngannou. And they're being put on the back burner for an exhibition fight. It just shows the state of the fight game right now and how frustrating it is.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'll watch it.
But I mean, of course you will. But do you guys not think when you see these kind of fights that like it doesn't really make it? Like it's when Pacquiao fought
Mayweather,
Floyd,
or the most recent one when he fought.
No, when Floyd fought. Sorry,
Conor McGregor.
Right.
But like did anyone actually think McGregor was going to win? Floyd's a boxer. There's a boxer here and there's an MMA fighter. There's a clear advantage. This is just for I'm getting sick of this.
This is very similar. This is
100%. No,
we all know what the result is going to be, but there's a chance that Francis Ngannou.
No,
I'm just saying
so.
That's why people will watch. Because there's a chance that Francis Ngannou can take off Fury's head. He has that type of power. Will it happen? Probably not. I just want to say one thing. Listen, I'm not going to shit on it because I'm going to watch it. A large crowd were shitting on Francis Ngannou when he left the UFC and said he's going to regret this. He's going to have to go back and beg Dana White to go back to the UFC. Since he's left, he got paid massively by the PFL. He said he wanted to become a boxer and have some boxing fights and be a part of one of the biggest boxing fights in the history of combat sports, and he's got it. So credit to Ngannou and stick it to all these other people who said you can't do something that he actually wanted to do.
Good for him. He's not old, is he? He's in his prime.
26? No, he's 30.
Oh, is he 30?
Yeah, he defected from Africa, I want to say when he was in his 28 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But his rise to the top has been so quick.
Yeah.
Because he's a freak athlete, incredibly powerful.
Yeah, good for him for making money from a sporting standpoint. It's just a shame
paid.
because there's 2 really, really great fights sitting there for both these guys, and we're not going to see them, who knows, maybe ever.
Tyson Fury is like minus 1,000 favorite, by the way, which is about right.
If he takes it seriously.
He will.
You think so?
Listen, there's a
bragging
chance.
rights, come on.
There's a chance.
But there's no belt on the line.
No, but you still don't want to get knocked out by an MMA fighter in
You
boxing.
don't. But he's got the power and Ngannou to do that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, so I'll be watching. You'll be watching. I'm sure you'll watch too.
I'm sure I will.
Exactly. Okay, that's it for the Homestand show
MLS
today.
That night.
Guys, it's been a good show today, eh?
It's a great show. Yeah, I think so.
The Zubes was on. Thanks to the Zubes for jumping on. Noor Zainab dropping knowledge as always, and the grizzled grizzly veteran, and James Sharman. As always.
I think grizzled, not grizzly.
I'm calling you Grizzly.
Okay.
Grizzly Adams. Sara Porarria, thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow live right here, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, the Homestand YouTube channel. Make sure you join us. Thanks for watching.